This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. Johnny Fisher, available on DAZN, yeah.
What, Wow Hydrate?
No, this interview will be on the app.
I thought you said Wow Hydrate, available on DAZN. Sorry.
You can't purchase Wow Hydrate through the DAZN app, not yet anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's
a
revolution in affairs right there. But how are you, Oscar? Good?
I'm good, mate, you?
Good, mate. Good to see you as always.
Yeah.
Last time I saw you, when was it?
We done the On the Road with Johnny Fisher.
Oh, yes. You came down to the old gym, and that was a good little episode.
That went down a treat.
I've got to say this. I'm going to say this to the camera. Oscar Bevis, not only a good presenter and a good interviewer, but his journalistic skills are, when I've read pieces of that he's wrote, they just flows. And I just got to say it because I do like him as a journalist as well, as a written journalist, not just an interviewer. He's got talent. Look out for Oscar Bevis.
Right, that's it. Thanks for your time, Johnny. Appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. See you later. Pay me a tenner for that.
That's all out in my pocket. This youth club, Lion Boxing Club, your dad was an amateur here. There was 40, 50 amateurs downstairs. These are the sort of places that we need if we're to breed stars like yourself, like Giorgio Visioli, who we see just over there as well. These are the places whose doors need to stay open. So a really good community night tonight. As
Eddie said in that little talk he gave us down there, they're the backbone, they're the lifeblood of the professional game. This is where the fighters are bred in places like this, and it's the same for rugby, football. You can't let the top of the sport go away from the grassroots too much. Rugby is probably suffering from that a little bit now, and they're seeing the negative effects of that and lower turnout at games and things like that. And we can't let boxing go in the same way. Football's a bit of a luxury. It's always going to have people. Football's religion in this country. They don't have to worry about it as much, but boxers as well don't want to become too detached from local communities because that's what we're built upon. And boxers, we're known for being down-to-earth people. We know how hard the sport is. We know how hard it is for not only the boys and girls to come and train here, but the coaches to give up their free time. So this is more than just about looking good and coming down to see a local club. This is the lifeblood of our sport, and we need to make sure that we give it the kudos and the credit that they deserve at clubs like this.
Yeah, you mentioned boxers sticking to their community, and I think you're a perfect example in the pro game as well, because I know your fan base has grown to not just the wider UK, but Australia, America. But Romford is your core, so you stick to your community, and if you are to make it as a professional, whether it be in boxing or any other sport, you will always have that core community of supporters that will back you until the hill.
Romford is my childhood. It's where I grew up. It always have a special place in my heart. It's changed immeasurably over the years, but you still got that core of people, as you said. It's not just about it being the place where you're from, it's where your friends and family are as well. And we've built a massive community, not only from before boxing, but when we was in this Romford Bull Army, this whole thing came about. We've made so many great friends through it. We was actually talking about it in our family and friend group chat last night. We've created like a great community of people behind the Bull Army. So that's what life's all about as well. When you look back in 10, 15, 20 years' time, the memories we created, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, community, absolutely. Right, Andriy Rudenko was meant to be on the Jack Catchell Regis Pro Grade card. That got postponed. Was it a little bit awkward for you because you flung yourself straight into another camp, then you get the cancellation? I know you went away for a little bit. I know you're fighting on the Dalton Smith card in Sheffield at the end of September. Just kind of a little bit awkward, I guess, with you flying straight back into another camp.
But when you this is the nature of the sport we're in. Everyone has things in their jobs that they've got to deal with, like things get postponed, things get cancelled. It's the nature of the job. I went to Fuerteventura for a week's training just to break up the monotony of training at home a little bit, and it was nice to be in the sun. And it was all in preparation for fighting on the 24th. So when I did find out that it was pushed back a bit, I did have a few days just chilling, not eating rubbish, still training a bit of running and stuff, but the boxing work stopped a little bit. And it's important to have them little breaks, even though I'm still trying to maintain that fitness the whole time. You've got to have a mental break, because if you don't come down, there's nothing to build up to, you know?
Yeah, well, in Andriy Rudenko, when we had that chat in your car, you said that S-Jam and the guys behind you and Eddie will want someone who can give you rounds. I know you're not going to go in there and let him have rounds, but I guess their intention is that in Andriy Rudenko, it's not going to be someone that you're going to bowl over inside a round.
No, I
although
don't.
It is always a possibility.
It's always a possibility, and if I see it, I will. But it's a good situation to be in for me, because if I get 10 rounds under my belt and go on points, I'll have to show different elements to my game that I haven't showed yet, and I believe that I've improved over the last 2-3 years of being a professional boxer. So if I do knock him out, great. If I don't and I get 10 rounds under the bank, Andriy Rudenko has served his purpose, but that doesn't mean I'm going in there thinking I'm definitely going to win, because Andriy Rudenko has been in and gone the distance with Caballel, Zhang, Povetkin. He's a force to be reckoned with, even if at his advanced age. Someone who's I've never fought at the level he's fought at, so he's going to teach me a few things in that ring, and I'm going to make sure that it ain't too much, and I've got to make sure that I still win.
Yeah. Mate, bring on Sheffield.
Bring it on, Chef Bosch.
Just a little bit about the rest of the heavyweight division. A couple of weeks ago we saw Joe Joyce versus Derek Chisora. We knew what the fight was going to be. It was obvious, wasn't it? It played exactly how we thought it would go in terms of style and pace and tempo. Derek Chisora comes out on top. Just your assessment of the rounds, the brutal rounds that them two shared.
Entertaining fight. You always knew it was going to be with them two. Joe's one of my good friends. I know Derek as well. I do class him as a mate. We're not as close as me and Joe, obviously, but just a great fight. I'm happy for Del Boy. Although Joe's my good friend, I'm still happy for Del Boy because he's just churned another win out there, and he's just beat Joe Joyce, who's a really credible name, and he goes on again. But I'm obviously gutted for my friend Joe, and I just want him to be happy with what he does next. It's up to him. He says he wants to keep fighting. If he's fit and healthy and wants to keep fighting, all power to him.
Yeah. In terms of Derek Chisora, I know he was adamant that he wants to get to fight number 50. So, what's he on 48? Manchester Arena for one more, he said, and then potentially one in Zimbabwe. I was hearing rumours, not rumours. I was hearing, how do we call it? Like people's wanted list for whispers, or people's wanted list for one of Derek's last two fights. Mate, the Romford ball got chucked in a couple of times ringside. Dynamo was one of them.
Dynamo,
the magician.
What to fight Chisora?
No, I mentioned the Romford ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Big up Dynamo.
Him and Derek and Dynamo are like.
I like Dynamo, but Derek Chisora. People have asked me a lot about this fight. Listen, if a fight gets put on the table and it makes sense, and it's a name like Derek Chisora, how can you say no? But I don't want people to think I'm going around banging the drum saying I want Derek, I want Derek, I want Derek. He's a legend of the game, and it's not my place to even mention his name in the same as mine. But if Derek came to my door and said, "Hello, Johnny, fancy a fight on this date in Zimbabwe?" of course I'm going to say yes. Do you know what I mean? That's an unbelievable bucket list. I tell my grandkids I went and fought Derek Chisora in Zimbabwe, and we had a nice Chinese after in the best Zimbabwean Chinese. How can I say no?
Mate, I am all over that. Just one more heavyweight fight. The Riyadh season card in Los Angeles. Martin Bakole, Jared Anderson. I feel like a lot of the US guys I spoke to were very intent that Jared Anderson was in for not a simple night, but a comfortable-ish night. But it was the UK guys kind of going over there, banging the drum about Martin Bakole. Were you surprised with what you saw in that fight at all?
Not at all. I know Jared Anderson's an amazing fighter, but we know what Martin Bakole can do. As you said, probably the US market hasn't been exposed to it. Really, outside of the hardcore fans of British boxing here, no one really knows who Bakole is. And I think it's because people want to keep him quiet because he's an absolute menace, an absolute nightmare. The way that 17, 18, 19 stone man can put shots together in 6 or 7 punches is frightening. And like, just from he doesn't even use any of his legs, he just pops them out, and it's just relentless pressure. And Jared Anderson, amazing fighter himself, but just couldn't cope with that pressure, and I don't think a lot of people could. I've heard Dave Allen say that Bakole could beat Usyk, and I can see how that happens as well. Anything can happen in that ring, and Bakole's got the size, the power, and the punch repertoire to do that.
Yeah. Johnny, top man. Bush.